Hi, Christy Sloan here, taking you on another artful adventure. Today we're going to be stamping on tissue paper, and while that might not sound like the most exciting thing to do, I think you'll be able to put some of those stamps that you've got sitting around to better use once more often, and I think you'll be glad to have this little tip in your bag of tricks. So let's get this adventure started. Today I wanted to show you a quick way to use some of the stamps that you might have sitting around. Many of us have way more stamps than we put to use. We might find them in, like, you know, the images or the words or whatever's on it, and then we just don't use them as often as we thought we would. And if you're using, if you want to put them in mixed media or an art journal page, a lot of times you've added so many layers that you're not going to get a very crisp image. So today I wanted to show you a way that you can use tissue paper and have that image be pretty crisp, and it'll go on layers, and it almost is like when you use a rub-on and then, you know, you get that great look. It completely, you know, goes on and adheres to your page, and you can still read it if it's a word art or some other image with a lot of detail. And you can just use your stamps and stamp right on the page, but the problem with that is when you're doing mixed media or art journaling pages, those layers can build up, and then you don't have, you know, a smooth surface to work on. So today we're going to use some tissue paper. We're going to stamp on that, and I'm going to show you how easy that is and how quick that is to apply to your journal pages. So we just need some tissue. Tissue is pretty cheap. You can get it from the dollar store. You can get it out of a gift bag. It's not going to matter what color that you use. We're going to use that, and then some kind of a medium. I like this Glue and Seal from Ranger. That's a great product. You need some kind of ink product. And I like to use StazOn because StazOn is a solvent-based product, and so as we put our medium on, it's not going to smear whatever we have just stamped. So when you take your, when you first take new acrylic stamps off, they'll have a residue that's come from production, and you need to get that off so that you can, so the ink adheres properly to your image. And the way to do that is you can just take that and you can just stamp it like on your hand or something, and it's going to take that off. If you're going to use it like for card making or something where you really need a crisp image, then you would want to go ahead and stamp it, ink it up, and then stamp it a couple times to make sure that the image is taking the ink like you want it. So, and the other thing is when you get a new acrylic set that's got one of these little spongy things in it, it's not just for packing purposes. Be sure to save it because you'll need it. When rubber stamps that are mounted, and even some that come unmounted, they have a cushy thing that's between that and the block, so it gives it a little give to stamp. So we don't have that, so we're going to put this under whatever we're stamping on, and it gives it just that little give, and you'll get a much better image. So I'm just going to ink up my image. And you know, this doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to use it in an art journal page. So just ink it up and then just press it on here. And hold your tissue so because it'll kind of tend to stick to it. And that's not really, I'm going to try again. Not really sure why that didn't come out real good. Might need a little more ink. Oh, that's okay. And then I've got these seashells out of that same package. Or here's a little phrase. Words are what is so hard. You know, a lot of times you can put an image on your art journaling page. You can stamp it on. And I mean, some of the images are not gonna, it doesn't matter whether you get the whole image or not. But words, if you don't get the whole, you know, the whole stamp of words, sometimes it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then I'll go ahead and use a couple of seashells. I had enough room on that block. I could have gone ahead and put more than one on there. But you know, I want some room to be able to get that out. You know, I think this was a new stamp and I didn't condition it first. If you've got ink that gets around here, you tend to have a better time of not getting ink on your stamp, or I mean on your base, if you leave the base down and then hold your ink over it. But if you get some ink on there, maybe that was already on there, I'm not sure. So I want some room to be able to get the image out and have some tissue paper around the edge. Okay, and there's one, and I'm just going to do one more. I'll do a big one. And if you haven't used them, be sure and just get that residue off. Okay, and that's good enough for now. We'll be able to use that. Move those out of the way. Now, if you cut, I am going to cut one out because I'm going to show you the difference of what it looks like around the edges if you cut it out. If you tear your items out, your little images, you're going to get a different look around the edge than if you cut them out. And I'm going to show you both ways here real quick. Okay, old gift cards. So now we're going to use our glue and seal for adhesive. And you might want to use part of a gift card. I had to trim this off because it was too big to go in the little container. And now what I'm going to do is use a page of an art journal that I already had. I would usually have more than this, but I wanted to show you this technique. So here we go. Got too much stuff in the way. Get it over here so you can see it. You know, I'm just going to flip it like this. I think the way it's leaning, it'll get better light. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so when you, and this is kind of a collaging technique, but these plastic cards you can get like a gift card or, you know, like sometimes even in the mail you get the promotional like credit card things, and you could just take those and use them for a little tool. So here we go. We're just going to smear some of this on. So, you know, anything like this that's kind of a collaging technique, you want to put your medium under it, stick your paper on, and put it over it. So here we go. Now, it'll just kind of melt right in there. And there you can see that's a torn edge. We'll put a couple of these little shells. And then you can even layer these. Well, I don't want to do that one. That's the one I want to show you how different it would look. You know, I'm going to put it right here. I probably didn't get much underneath. Well, one thing, tissue paper is so forgiving because it's so thin. It's going to pretty much soak through that paper anyway. And then I'll just put this down here. And you can even overlap your images on tissue, and the other one will show through. This kind of becomes, it's not really transparent. Okay, so there you go. Look at that. That's kind of a cool way to be able to add stuff. Now, if I was just going to stamp something on, I might not have gotten that clear of an image. But that's it for today, and I'm going to show you some close-ups. I'm going to take some stills right here in a second, and you can look at that, and I'll show you how the difference. If you can't see it right here, I'll show you the difference on the one that has the cut edge right here on this shell, and then the other ones. So use this technique, and I hope you'll have fun.